What if the most terrifying Disney villain wasn't a dragon or a sea witch or even a dark sorcerer? What if he looked like authority? See, Judge Doom isn't just a cartoon villain, he is a reflection of something far more uncomfortable. Unchecked power, sanitized cruelty, and destruction disguised as progress. And once you see him clearly, Who Framed Roger Rabbit never feels the same again. A villain who feels wrong immediately. Judge Doom's first appearance is actually pretty quiet. There's no theme song, no dramatic entrance, and no exaggerated animation. He simply just exists as a character within the world. In a film overflowing with color, chaos, and cartoon physics, Doom is stripped of exaggeration. He wears black, he moves slowly, and speaks evenly. And that contrast is deliberate for his character. In my opinion, Doom feels unsettling because he refuses to play by the movie's rules. Every other character leans into the cartoon logic of the world, and Doom resists it, and quite frankly, he doesn't belong. The stare, the cane, and the lack of emotion. There's a moment early in the film when Judge Doom interrogates Eddie Valiant. Doom doesn't threaten him, he doesn't shout or even posture at him, he just simply stares. And his eyes linger too long. His face barely even reacts, and his voice stays calm even when describing violence. When Doom introduces the dip, which is a chemical mixture that permanently kills Toons, he explains it clinically, like a municipal process. There's no malice involved, no pleasure of doing it, it's simply just procedure to him. And personally, this is the moment that has always chilled me. Not because of what he says, but because of how normal it sounds to him. The dip. Cruelty as policy. The dip scene is one of the most disturbing moments in Disney adjacent cinema. A shoe is slowly layered into the solution, and it screams and eventually dissolves. And Doom watches without blinking at all. What's important is how the scene is framed, however, because Doom doesn't revel in cruelty, he demonstrates it. And this isn't even punishment, it's enforcement. For example, according to director Robert Zemeckis, the dip was designed to feel final, permanent, and terrifyingly precise because Toons normally survive everything else. Death is ultimately supposed to be impossible for them to experience. And Judge Doom introduces permanence into a world built on chaos itself. And that makes him feel godlike, not magical, but bureaucratic. And if you enjoy these darker deep dives into the Disney villains, the kind that look at psychology, symbolism, and quite frankly, uncomfortable truths, consider liking the video and subscribing so you don't miss out on any future uploads. Now, let's talk about what Judge Doom really is looking for. A plan that makes him truly real. Judge Doom's endgame isn't world domination, it's actually infrastructure. He plans to dismantle Toontown and replace it with a freeway system, which is revealed in the film as a part of a larger real estate scheme. This is not fantasy to him. This mirrors the real-world dismantling of public transit systems and urban neighborhoods in the mid to 20th century Los Angeles. The film directly references the Pacific Electric Railway, once the largest electric rail system in the entire world, which was dismantled in favor of highways. Judge Doom isn't inventing evil per se, he is simply reenacting history. And in my view, that's what makes him more disturbing than most other Disney villains. His plan doesn't rely on magic or revenge, it relies on paperwork. Toontown as a world worth saving. Toontown isn't just a setting, it's a community. A place where chaos is normal, where differences are celebrated, and the rules of the real world don't apply. And that idea didn't stop with Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Years later, Disney would build an entire game around it. Enter Toontown Online. While never officially connected to Roger Rabbit, the DNA is unmistakable. It's a world where toons live separately, governed by their own logic, constantly under threat from soulless corporate forces. And instead of Judge Doom, it was the cogs, and instead of freeways, it was spreadsheets. Same energy. Growing up, I played Toontown Online constantly, and looking back now, I don't think I realized I was replaying the same conflict. Toons versus systems, joy versus efficiency, and imagination versus profit. Also, if you played Toontown Online, then you already know, no villain is scarier than a smiling cog who wants to circle back after destroying your health bar. In my view, Who Framed Roger Rabbit planted the seed. Judge Doom didn't just want Toontown gone, he wanted it paved over, forgotten, and eventually replaced. And Toontown Online turned that fear into a playable experience. You weren't just saving gags, you were protecting a world that wasn't meant to survive under real world logic. Which makes Doom's plan hit harder, because once Toontown is gone, it doesn't come back. And once you understand what Toontown represents, not just in the movie, but in Disney's broader history, Judge Doom stops feeling like a villain from a cartoon and starts feeling like a threat to imagination itself. The reveal and why it works. When Doom is finally revealed as a toon, the moment is quite shocking. But not because he becomes cartoonish. It's because he finally shows emotion. His eyes begin to bulge, his voice spikes a couple of notches, and he actually starts to laugh. And suddenly, the restraint is gone. The brilliance of this reveal is that Doom doesn't become scarier when he becomes a toon, he becomes scarier because the mask starts to slip. The authority really was the disguise after all. Voice, performance, and design. Judge Doom was voiced by Christopher Lloyd, whose performance was intentionally restrained. Unlike villains who chew the scenery, Lloyd plays Doom as a man suppressing something volatile. And animator Andreas Deja has spoken about how Doom's design emphasized rigidity, with straight lines, stiff posture, and minimal motion to contrast the fluidity of the toons themselves. Even Doom's eyes are framed unnaturally still for most of the film. Everything about him is controlled until it isn't. Why Judge Doom stands apart. Judge Doom doesn't disrupt the world through chaos. He sterilizes it. He begins by removing the joy, then the color, and eventually the communities within the Toon world. And he does it technically legally, which is why he lingers. Not because he's funny, not because he's charismatic, but because he feels impossible. The scariest kind of villain. Judge Doom simply reminds us that the most dangerous villains aren't always loud. Sometimes they whisper, sometimes they even sign documents, and sometimes they smile politely while erasing entire worlds. And that's why Judge Doom isn't just a Disney villain, he is a warning. Because the scariest monsters don't come from cartoons, they come from the systems that we're told to trust. Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed, consider hitting that like button, subscribe to never miss out on a future upload, and leave a comment down below with if you agree that Judge Doom is Disney's most unsettling villain. And lastly, also let me know which villain you would like to see next for a future video.